Good morning, good afternoon, guys. I hope y'all are doing okay and having a good day. I hope y'all had a good weekend. Welcome back. Today, we're going to be looking at percent and interest. And the way we're going to look at it is we're going to see how it pertains to like an auto loan or something like that. So, while I uh, explain the parts of the notes to you, I want you to go ahead and write these parts down in your worksheet. So this is going to be assignment number 4. The first assignments 1, 2, and 3 are what we did last week, and those are all basically if you participated in class, you'll all get 100. But we're going to define percent interest and determine how the interest rate affects loans. It, our essential question that we should be asking ourselves is what is percent interest and interest rate? We will define interest as it relates to loans, and you all will determine the total amounts for loans or yeah, you'll determine the total amounts for a loan at different interest rates. Okay, and you're going to answer some questions. So let's define and explore. Well, what is percent interest? Interest is just a percentage. Okay, and interest rate is how much a bank will charge you for a loan. So, like if you get an auto loan or you get a loan for a house or some big purchase you want to make, the interest rate is how much, what percent they're going to charge you in order for you to get that loan. It can also be how much you will pay to a credit card companies if you carry a balance on your credit card. So what that means is like, so you get a credit card and you buy stuff with it and you pay it off at the end of the month and you never have a balance or you never owe anything to you pay off what you use, then you never pay interest. But let's say you buy $1,000 worth of stuff and you only pay $500 back, and you still owe the credit card $500, then you will pay interest on that balance that you're carrying. So that's what an interest rate is. And the two biggest things that's going to impact you for your immediate future is going to be on an auto loan, which I know a lot of you are trying to work and have your little jobs, trying to get your money set aside. And if you buy a car cash, you don't have to worry about any of this stuff. But if you buy a car because you want a newer car or you want to go get a nice ride from the dealership, you will wind up paying interest, and it will cost you some money to get that loan. Uh, we'll talk about credit cards and credit scores and things like that in a couple weeks here, at the end of this week and into next week. And it's so at some point you probably will have to get yourself a little credit card if you're going to buy a house or a car or have credit at some point. Okay, so let's see some examples. There are many factors that go into getting an auto loan, and we will look at them this week. For right now, we're just going to look at some simple examples. So on these, there's example 1 and example 2. Here's the base price of the vehicle. So we're on example 1. Okay, here's the base price of a vehicle. There's nothing for you to write down. I just want you to look at the table. Here's the base price of the vehicle, and here's some different interest rates: 5%, 8%, and 12%. This isn't a simple interest calculation. We will go into where this calculation comes from later on this week. But for today, understand that these are real numbers. These are real estimates from an actual auto loan but an auto loan calculator that I used. And the interest amount for this base vehicle of $30,000 comes out to $33,968, and your total loan is going to be $3,844. Okay, and so forth and so forth. These $30,000 is like if you want to go buy a Honda Civic or maybe like a really high end Honda Civic, a low end Honda Accord, maybe like a kind of used Mustang or a new Camaro or something like that. This is a kind of a lower end vehicle. These are what your interest amounts are going to look like. So this is how much it's going to cost you just to borrow that money. So if you get a 5%, an 8%, or even a 12%, this is how much money you're going to wind up paying over the term of 5 years if you get a 5-year loan. And you're going to add that to some other stuff, and your total for that $30,000 car is going to be $44,515. So there are some other things that go into this that we're going to talk about later. But for now, I kind of want you just to see like, wow, 5%, 8%, 12%. Look how much interest you pay. This is if you have pretty good credit, you'll get like a 3% rate or a 4% rate or lower. Most of you guys starting out and your age and not having a lot of credit history, you will probably pay well over 8%, maybe even above 12%, depending on your credit score. Okay. Right now at loans, the last auto loan I got was a 0% interest rate. The loan before that I had like 3.5%. So we're like on the very low end because my credit's very high, which we'll talk about later on at the end of this week and into next week. But for you guys as young people, you're going to be in these 8 to 12 and maybe even higher percent. So these are about the amounts you'll pay for a loan. Let's take a look at example number two for like a little nicer car, $50,000 car. So that might like be like a really nice F-150, kind of like a base price F-150, or kind of a nice little sports car or a nice little SUV, Ford Explorer, something like that. So your $50,000 base price, same interest rates, 5%, 8%, and 12%. But look at the interest. Now you got a big jump. 10,000, 16,000, and now look at the for a $50,000 car, you're going to wind up paying 72,800 if you have a high interest rate, which you could have that or maybe even higher at your first time the first time you buy a car. The very first time I bought a car, I paid 17.5% interest. Very high. I had very bad credit and I didn't know what I was doing. And this is why I want to help you guys understand these things so you don't make the same mistakes that Mr. Rubio did when I was trying to buy my first little car and paying way more money than it was worth. Okay. So now that you kind of saw what the table and how it's set up, what I want you guys to do is answer these two questions. Look at the interest amount in the tables. Why do you think the interest amounts are so much more expensive for example, number two? So compare example 1 to 2. Look at the amounts and they're so much higher. The interest amounts, why do you think they are? And then the second question is, okay, you would think that the total loan amount would be the base price plus the interest amount. However, it's not. So in example one, 30,000 for the base price of the vehicle plus the interest comes out to 33,968, but the total loan is 38,444. So where's that extra money? There's like it's not just the base price and the interest. Okay, so that's your base, that's your interest. That's not adding up to 3844. So where's this extra like $4,000 or $5,000 coming from? Where do you think these additional costs come from? Take a guess, take your best guess, or if you've already bought a car, maybe you already know, but there's a several factors that are going to go into the price of this loan. Okay, you got to think about it. Anytime you buy something, what are the things that you have to pay in addition to even if you just buy some snacks at the store, like what else do you have to include in that price? You go out to eat and you buy a combo meal that's 750. It's not just 750. It's like there's some other things that we need to add. And when you buy vehicles, there's also some additional costs. So I want you to kind of think about that, answer it to the best of your ability, talk with your group members and see if they can come up with anything, and then just list out a few things and we'll discuss it in class. Okay. Good luck, guys.